For more on the emerging U.S. strategy in Afghanistan, we're joined by Marvin Weinbaum, a scholar at the Middle East Institute and a former State Department analyst on Afghanistan. Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Surely.
Let's go back to where we began. What do you make of Ambassador Eikenberry's leaked comments calling for fewer new American troops to be sent to Afghanistan?
They reflect a great deal of displeasure now by the ambassador after having some conversations with Karzai and also hearing his public statements of late, in which they all add up to the fact that there's good likelihood that Karzai sees no urgency in moving on a reform agenda. And if a reform agenda is one that it's expected is going to be put forward soon, that he will not deliver on it.
If it turns out that President Obama sends fewer than the 40,000 new troops that General Stanley McChrystal is asking for, how do you see that defining the United States mission and its allies' mission going forward?
Well, in the larger sense, of course, the mission really depends on a great deal more than just corruption, although that is certainly a concern here. McChrystal, I think, is prepared now to accept some redefinition of what the counterinsurgency strategy is going to be. That is doing the same with fewer troops or narrowing the mission somewhat. But again, President Karzai, it seems to me, is really of the opinion that the United States is really stuck with him, and that his election has given the United States no real alternative, and therefore he has the latitude to really take this at a rate of change that he would like, and one that we probably would not like.
What's the blueprint here?
The blueprint essentially is to be able to do the basics of what counterinsurgency requires, and that is to be able to protect large population centers and to devote most of our energies now into regaining the confidence of the Afghan people. Unfortunately, Karzai's actions in recent times, not just corruption, but failure to deliver basic services, are really what has forfeited so much of the confidence and trust that the Afghan people are going to need if our strategy is going to succeed.
And just very briefly, a lot of the reports about the White House strategy meeting say that President Obama is insisting that there be a way out before committing more troops. Do you think that that is realistic?
I really believe that that's a long shot here, that anyone is going to be able to script just what kind of a way out. But it certainly, it may be a necessary part of this equation, because he's got to sell it to the American people. And one of the, I think, key questions that's going to be asked is this a indefinite commitment? He's got to be able to say, no, we have some metrics here by which we're going to measure how long we can, in fact, expect to stay.
Okay, Marvin Weinbaum, thank you very much for joining us from Washington, D.C.
You're very welcome.